When you think of Helsinki, what do you see? Do you picture clean streets, sleek Nordic design, or the calm waters of the Baltic Sea? Beneath this modern surface, however, lies a city whose very identity has been shaped by war or the possibility of one. From Finland's independence in 1917 to the civil war that erupted months later, through devastating bombings in World War II and the delicate balancing act of the Cold War, Helsinki's streets, monuments, and even its underground tunnels still carry the marks of war. This is the story of how Finland's capital was shaped by war and how it continues to prepare for the challenges of tomorrow. Finland declared independence from Russia in 1917. At the time, Helsinki was home to only about 160,000 people, a small capital in a fragile new nation. Independence came during the upheaval of the Russian Revolution, and Finland's political divisions quickly erupted into violence.
Challenging the American idea of freedom.
In January 1918, civil war broke out between the Reds, made up largely of factory workers, tenant farmers, and the rural people without land, with support from revolutionary Russia. And the Whites included landowning farmers, officials, bourgeois citizens, and the educated people who were supported later by German troops. Helsinki became a Red stronghold, serving as the capital of Red Finland. Red Guards occupied Senate Square and government buildings, trying to establish control over the young capital. But by April, White forces advanced on the city. On May 12, 1918, German troops paraded through Helsinki in victory. The aftermath was brutal. Over 400 bodies, prison camps, executions, and repression left deep scars. In just a few months, thousands of Finns had died, and Helsinki was left to pick up the pieces of a divided nation. And after the war, Helsinki became the stage for rebuilding national unity. In the 1920s and 30s, the city grew rapidly with modern architecture, cultural institutions, and the completion of Parliament's House in 1931. This period gave Helsinki its identity as the heart of independent Finland. The city became a symbol of democracy, progress, and national pride. But across Europe, the rise of extreme ideas meant that peace was fragile. Helsinki's new monuments stood under a growing shadow of war. On November 30th, 1939, that shadow became reality. The Soviet Union launched the Winter War by bombing several Finnish cities, including Helsinki. Civilians who had only recently enjoyed stability suddenly found themselves under air raid sirens. Entire neighborhoods blacked out their windows to avoid being seen from the air. Families crammed into hastily prepared bomb shelters. In just one raid on the first day, over 90 people were killed. Though the Winter War lasted only 105 days, it was devastating. Helsinki was hit repeatedly, with 97 civilians killed in the capital alone. Finland lost territory in the peace treaty, and the city's residents were left shaken, but also defiant. And the danger wasn't over. Within just a few years, Helsinki would once again be drawn into conflict. When Finland allied with Germany in 1941 to regain lost territory, Helsinki once again became a target. The most critical moment came in February 1944. In 3 nights of the Great Raids, Soviet bombers dropped over 16,000 bombs on the Helsinki area. But the city was ready. Its anti-aircraft defenses were among the most effective in Europe, and Finnish engineers created decoy fires outside the city to draw bombers away from their targets. The strategy worked. Over 1,000 of bombs dropped, only a small fraction hit the city center. Such scars from the bombings can still be found in many places around Helsinki, reminding us all of that difficult time. However, damage was limited and fewer than 150 people were killed. For a capital under such heavy attack, this was extraordinary. This survival wasn't just luck, it was planning, ingenuity, and the determination of a small nation to defend its capital. And so the war ended. Amid the shortages and rebuilding, the city also looked for symbols of hope.
During all the excitement of Olympic victories, one thing has been almost overlooked: what the Games have meant to Helsinki. The past 2 weeks have probably been the liveliest and most crowded in the city's history.
And in 1952, Helsinki hosted the Summer Olympics, an event that really symbolized the city's rebirth. Just 7 years after the end of World War II, Finland showed the world not only that it had survived, but that it was ready to take part in the global community. The Games were held in a country that had so recently been at war, making them a powerful symbol of reconciliation and neutrality. For many Finns, the Olympics were more than sports. They were proof that Helsinki had turned from a city of war into a city of peace. But peace in Europe was fragile, and Helsinki soon found itself on a new kind of front line. The Cold War placed Helsinki in a delicate position. Finland was officially neutral but lived under the shadow of its powerful neighbor, the Soviet Union. Helsinki became a stage for diplomacy. The most famous moment came in 1975 when leaders from the United States, the Soviet Union, and dozens of other nations gathered in the capital to sign the Helsinki Accords. This agreement eased tensions in Europe and made Helsinki synonymous with peace and negotiation. But even in these years, the memory of war was never far. Beneath the city, civil defense shelters were built in case the Cold War ever turned hot. The capital remained quietly prepared for the worst. The fall of the Soviet Union in 1991 changed everything. Finland joined the European Union in 1995, and Helsinki became a modern, confident European capital, and the city became known for innovation, culture, and education. Yet, war remains part of Helsinki's story. Monuments like the statue of Marshal Mannerheim, preserved wartime bunkers, and even underground metro stations double as reminders of the capital's resilience. Helsinki's connection to war is not just history, it's part of its present and future. The city has prepared extensively for potential crises. Under its streets lie more than 5,000 bomb shelters, hidden in places like subway stations, sports halls, and parking garages. Together, they can protect the city's entire population of more than 600,000 people. These shelters aren't just empty rooms. Many are designed to convert quickly. Ice rinks can become emergency hospitals, and underground spaces can provide weeks of protection with clean air and water. Beyond shelters, Helsinki invests in civil defense training, emergency drills, and infrastructure planning. The goal is simple: if history repeats itself, the city will be ready. From Civil War to World War II bombings, from Cold War diplomacy to modern preparedness, Helsinki's story is inseparable from conflicts. It is a city tested by fire, rebuilt with determination, and defined by resilience. Today, as Finland's capital looks forward to the future, it continues to prepare for the challenges of tomorrow. Proof that Helsinki is not only a product of war, but also a symbol of survival.